All right, are you guys ready for World War III? President Trump is going to be making a major announcement today regarding Russia's war in Ukraine. President Trump has been voicing his frustrations with the Russian president and is apparently going to be providing Ukraine with more weapons. Now, he did say he was never going to do that and ran on ending the Russia-Ukraine war on day one. So now here we are with a major announcement coming today during his meeting with the NATO leaders. And we will see if Ukraine is going to be part of NATO and if World War III is about to kick off. Let's get right into it.
President Trump's special envoy to Ukraine arrived in Kyiv overnight. Keith Kellogg is expected to discuss security and also sanctions against Russia with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And that meeting comes as President Trump says he will make a major announcement and statement today about Russia's war in Ukraine. News Nation's Tom Dempsey is live at the White House with more there. Tom, what are we expecting from the president today?
Hey, good morning, Mark, and good morning from the White House, where later today, President Donald Trump will be meeting directly with the NATO Secretary General. But this meeting all comes as President Trump has voiced a lot of frustration recently with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, and now the U.S. plans to send more weapons to Ukraine.
I haven't agreed on the number yet, but they're going to have some because they do need protection. But the European Union is paying for it. We're not paying anything for it, but we will send it. It'll be business for us, and we will send them Patriots, which they desperately need, because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nice, and then he bombs everybody in the evening. So there's a little bit of a problem there, and I don't like it.
Now, that meeting here at the White House with the Secretary General comes after President Trump announced plans to sell weapons to NATO recently that can then be provided to Ukraine. The president has really pushed for this war in Europe to come to an end, but he has really grown annoyed with Putin for not doing enough to reach a ceasefire. So with that meeting happening later today here at the White House, we also know Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth will also be part of those talks. Marky?
Yeah, and Tom, you have a lot of people, a lot of lawmakers saying, we need to enact more severe sanctions on Russia. How quickly could Congress take up those new sanctions?
Yeah, it's not just the White House here that we're talking about the U.S. response. There's also legislation being discussed on Capitol Hill, and some Senate Republicans actually spoke to News Nation directly recently, saying a vote could come as soon as this week on a package of sanctions targeting Russia. Now, to dive into this a little bit further, legislation being worked on will focus on the Russian oil industry, and part of that plan involves a 500% tariff against countries that continue to buy Russian oil, gas, or other exports. Brazil, China, and India would be some of the hardest hit countries from that tariff. Part of this plan might also include tapping into some $300 billion in Russian assets frozen by some of the world's leading economies. All of this happening to try and bring about an end to the war still being fought in Europe, Mark.
All right, here we go again with the sanctions. I don't think Vladimir Putin cares about his own people, let alone sanctions. That seems like it's never worked before, so I don't think that the pressure from other companies and BRICS is going to be enough to stop Vladimir Putin from ending the war in Ukraine. I don't think that's going to work at all. All it's going to do is just escalate things more. We're getting closer and closer, day by day, step by step, to the inevitable World War III, unless someone just gives up or unless somehow the war ends on its own. But the more we get sucked into this, the more likely it's going to happen. And now President Trump, after he literally ran on saying he was going to end this day one and saying that he's going to be America first and not get us sucked into this, is upset with Putin and is going to be providing more weapons to Ukraine. Here we go. Now, you really wonder what's happening behind the scenes because you've got Senator Lindsey Graham seems to be very excited about the announcement that is coming out today. Check it out.
Well, just stay tuned for tomorrow's announcement. The idea of America selling weapons to help Ukraine is very much in play. We've given Ukraine a lot. We've given them money. We've given them military aid. We now have a minerals agreement with Ukraine that's worth trillions of dollars. So I don't want to get ahead of the president, but stay tuned about seized assets. The Europeans want to limit the interest on the assets to go to Ukraine. Secretary Bessent wants to go further. Stay tuned about a plan to go after the seized assets more aggressively. Stay tuned for a plan where America will begin to sell to our European allies tremendous amount of weapons that can benefit Ukraine. Putin has calculated that we would get tired and Europe would get weary. He made a huge mistake. NATO is bigger and stronger, and we're more committed than ever to make sure he does not take Ukraine by force. So Congress is on the verge of passing the most consequential sanction package in the history of the country. It will give President Trump tools he doesn't have today, a literal sledgehammer. And the big offender here is China, India, and Brazil. India buys oil from Russia cheap and resells it. That's despicable. I've talked to President Trump. He said last week it's time to move. He's tried to entice Putin to the table, but my goal is to end this war, and the only way you're going to end this war is to get people who prop up Putin, make them choose between the American economy and helping Putin, and you can only have one negotiator, and that's going to be President Trump with maximum flexibility to end this war. China, India, and Brazil, you're about to get hurt big time if you keep helping Putin.
So what do you guys think? Drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think that the seized assets and the increased tariffs on all the BRICS countries will work? Do you think any of these tactics will work? Do you think there's going to be something else in the major announcement today besides that? Do you think that President Trump will give in and allow Ukraine to join NATO? Have we all been gimmicked? Who knows? We will see. You guys drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts down below. You're watching Unexplained Outlook, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Always stay prepped. You never know what's going to happen, but I can guarantee you that we're getting closer and closer to World War III. See you guys in the next video.